This is a very important consumer and business alert. Be very careful of scams. We're coming up on the end of March 2021. In the last 30 days, the number of inquiries and cases we've worked for online fraud, online scams is more than triple the average over the last 12 months, and it's the biggest amount in the history of our agency. So be very, very careful of any kind of scam. And it's not just us, we're seeing this. We're going to look at a couple articles here. Here's an article from Wired magazine, a great technology magazine, where they're saying that the Department of Justice must crack down on the scourge of online scams. It says a new FBI report proves the DOJ is failing to combat internet fraud. It's a huge thing that people are seeing. Even the FBI is talking about how, this is an FBI press release, internet crime report, including COVID-19 scams. And not all the scams are not because of Corona. There are many other sources. There's news articles in many local news organizations. Scammers take advantage of the rise in online sales. This is in Richmond, Virginia, how to avoid internet scams. In England, their version of congressmen, the MP, are calling for crackdown on tech firms profiting from online scams. The Bank of England, one of the largest banks in England, says that big tech is enabling these online scams. One of the things that's different is younger people are more victims of scams than older people. It used to be that elderly people and retired people were the victim of these financial scams, but a lot of them from the 80s and 90s were all offline. They were mail scams or phone scams. These are online scams, so young people are falling for these scams, according to the Better Business Bureau. Many of these articles will describe how much the scam rate has increased, even in the last 60 or 90 days. Some of it has to do with pandemic, some of it has to do with lockdowns, but a lot of it is just that technology is allowing these scammers to do more with less resources. We're finding rooms of 8 or 9 people operating a Ponzi scheme or an online investment scam that are running thousands of scams at a time on hundreds of thousands of people. They're running scams of selling fake merchandise, fake Bitcoin investments, different types of money being sent for hard to find apartments, overpayment of checks. Everything that you can think of is all run from the same room with 8 or 9 people rotating shifts, just sending out emails and social media posts. So be very, very careful. It's on the rise. Phishing, hacking are all part of this. And if you're a small business or an individual, just be aware that these scams are, like I said, in the last 30 days, our inquiry rate has tripled over the average from the last 12 to 18 months. In the month of March, even though it's not done yet, it'll be done here in a couple days, is the largest volume of cases in the history of the agency, mostly due to online scams and fraud and Ponzi schemes. So be aware. If you have any questions about whether or not you may be a victim, you can email our help desk, help@activeintel.com. If you feel any kind of immediate risk, you may want to contact law enforcement, or if you have concerns about liability, contact a qualified attorney or legal source to make sure you get good legal advice. But be aware of these scams. They're increasing dramatically, and it's an avalanche of fraud on the internet that's reaching people in a number of ways: social media, email, websites, Twitter. All the platforms have some type of scams on it, and it's tough to differentiate between the two. But you can look at some prior videos to help determine which red flags of fraud you can identify and help you avoid losing money.